Hey there, my name is Pizzey, and today I want to show you my shop. We're also going to take some sound readings and see just how well my soundproofing worked. So 1 year and 19 videos ago, I created this channel by setting out to build my mini dream shop. And the whole idea of the shop was to build a space that was completely soundproofed, had great dust collection, and was just enjoyable to be in. Okay, welcome to the shop. This feels like one of those cheesy realtor videos. Let's just start with a quick overview of the whole space. It's actually very similar size to the toy room, 21 feet by 14 feet. However, we do have the landing of the stairs which jets out into the room, and that's 7 feet by 6 feet. So it does make it feel a lot smaller and just makes it really difficult to lay out the tools here. And as for the ceiling height, we have 8.5 feet to work with, except for over top of the table saw here, we've got this nasty bulkhead that comes down 12 inches. So we're kind of restricted to 7.5 feet, sadly. I'll just touch on the construction of the space here quickly. If you've been following the channel at all, you've probably seen went a little overboard on the soundproofing. You can see the wall profile is just under 12 inches. That's because we did 2x6 studs with 2 layers of 5/8 drywall all around the perimeter of the shop and on the ceiling. Also, those 2 layers of drywall are actually completely decoupled from the studs with sound isolation clips. So check out episode 3 if you want to see more details on how I approached the soundproofing. I also installed 2 exterior doors here and this rubber floor throughout the entire shop. I quite like it. It's 3/8 of an inch thick. It's only pinned around the perimeter of the floor, and in the middle it's just floating. And if I was to do it again, I think that's the one thing I would change. I'd probably just glue it, mainly because some of the larger tools, just when I move them with the mobile base, can cause some of the mats to move slightly. So it gets annoying, and glue probably would have been nice. As far as the construction goes, I think that's about it. I guess the only other thing would be the ventilation. I do have dedicated air in and air out. I think you can check out episode 10 if you want to know more about the ventilation. I recently also built and installed these sound absorption panels. Nothing to do with soundproofing, but trying to remove the echo that I have when I'm making these videos. So let's start here with the table saw. It's right in the center of the shop, and it's a SawStop PCS, the 3 horsepower. And I think like most people who have a SawStop, I'm very happy with it, no complaints. I also got the router insert and the filler piece here. This is actually not the SawStop router lift, it's the Jessam, and I'm really quite a big fan. I like it. However, the 4 bolt holes don't line up with the SawStop insert here. I just keep the fence right here for now, and I quite like it, no complaints. You can check out episode 4 if you want to see my initial thoughts. I haven't done a full review of the SawStop, and I don't think I will. And as far as the table saw's location goes, I got it right here in the middle of the shop, and I actually happen to have 8 feet of infeed and outfeed. As you can see, it's pretty tight, but it's been working pretty good. It's really tight here. So I can actually cut a full sheet of plywood. However, I typically do that with a track saw. I guess I should say I did steal the extension wing that comes with it, and I'm just using it as a temporary outfeed table for now. There are plans coming in the future for a nice outfeed table to live right here. Coming down the line here, you'll see that I've got the dust collector hidden in the corner. This is really dead space. It's a 3 horsepower Oneida. Check out episode 8 if you want to see my initial thoughts. And so far, I really love it. Other than that, I just got 7-inch ducting running throughout the shop, and pretty much everything steps down to a 6-inch flex to each tool. And
one voice crack for video.
And that takes us to the bandsaw here. Raycon 14-inch, nothing too special. I did a little upgrade on the back here. You can see I increased the port from a 4-inch to a 5-inch with a 2.5-inch Y off the side. And this guy I quite like. You can see the little slit here. This just hugs the blade and picks up right below the table. So you'll notice that all the tools do have a mobile base. Just with such a small shop, I think that's one of the best things that you can do. I do have a decent amount of outfeet out here, about 3.5 feet, but if I really need, I've got enough flex there, and with the wheels I can roll it out a little bit farther. And next up is the newest addition to the shop, the Hammer 12-inch jointer planer combo. And I really like this thing. Check out episode 17 if you want to see my initial thoughts. It seems to be working pretty good. The number one thing, I didn't want to have to take off the hose on and off. I just want to be able to keep it on, so you can see this thing flips around. Not bad. The only real modification I made, if you check this out, you can see I actually ripped off the smaller, I think it's 120 mil boot, and I put on, my hair is crazy.
Holy, that locks. Holy.
Stop. I need a ponytail.
Yes.
Okay, come here. Okay. Way better airflow. I stuck to the 6-inch and didn't reduce down. Yeah, and it goes back like this. I just have the little bracket right there to keep the hose out of the way of the fence while it's going up and down. As far as the infeed goes, I can clear the drill press over here, and I got more than 8 feet, which is nice. But you will notice the bandsaw is in the way over here. I'm getting about 6.5 feet. So if needed, I can either roll the bandsaw out of the way or just pull this guy out a little bit farther. It's on wheels as well. Just above the jointer planer here, I do have some wood racks. I just got these from Lee Valley. They're 14 inches deep, and I think it works out quite well. Next up is the old drill press here, which I think Lindsay, she's making fun of me. She wants to take a turn.
So next we have the Tayak bandsaw.
What?
Drill press. Okay, I'll go with. It's pretty old. It's probably the oldest we have in the shop here. Yeah, it's taller than me.
So the 2.5-inch port does a decent job at collecting sun chips. Sun chips?
Sun chips? What? Oh,
we had sun chips today. It does a decent job, if really close, at collecting some chips, but but unless you have some sort of like complete dust shroud, I don't think you get that much collection of the drill press. So regardless, you get shavings all over, and same thing with the workbench when you're hand planing. That is why I threw in this 5-inch line down to a dust sweep, so I can just grab stuff.
Give us a demo.
Sure, yeah, just put my little switch right here. Yeah, I like that. So this is my pride and joy. One of my first big projects. I think I built a few pieces of furniture before this, and then I realized I need a real bench. And I love this. It's made of construction grade lumber, and I find it quite heavy. I did a little bit of sprucing up with some walnut, laminated in a layer here, and I built the entire vise out of it. This guy here is just one of those Veritas, actually tail vise, I believe. And then I built my own crisscross down here, and it works pretty good. I just have a 1/2-inch rod here, 1/2-inch rod here, so it pivots right here and then slides up and down on a flat metal stock. It keeps things nice and parallel, and I find that I can really crank on this thing and I get no movement with whatever I'm holding. It has been banged up quite a bit though, and it needs a little bit of love, so I do need to re-flatten the whole top. Just over time, it's moved and it's not dead flat. For my tail vise, I'm actually using, I think, what's called the Veritas shoulder vise, but it works pretty good. Just same thing. I kind of got creative and cut some grooves into here with a metal plate, and it keeps everything in line. Other than that, I just did the bottom shelf down there with some walnuts. I do have my rigid spindle / belt sander down here, which I don't use too much, but it is nice to have one when you need it. That will eventually live over there under the outfeed table. So normally I actually keep this guy in the split top, and I have to say, of all the things in my shop, This bench is by far probably my favorite. Okay.
You want to show us the cabinet?
Yeah, that's next. So I built this guy 2 shops ago, I think about 6 years ago. It's built of walnut veneer plywood and trimmed out with just straight walnut, and all the tool holds are walnut. As you can see, I'm missing some tools, so those are on birthday and Christmas wish lists. You'll probably notice everything I have in here though is from Lee Valley and just Veritas, and I find them to be like a nice middle of the pack. They work for me, I love them, I find them better than what I probably need. So after my kind of 6-foot bench here, you'll see I've got some new shop cabinets that I finished in episodes 14, 15, and 16. Check them out if you'd like. I really like this though. I went with a completely different approach. This is my 3rd shop, and I've kind of done all the different things now as far as like French cleats and power tools on the wall, hand tools on the wall. And I think this is what I like most for me. So the top drawer I actually made for those smaller pack out bins. However, currently I just have things that I use most often. I'm not really married to what I have in the drawers yet or the organization. I just ended up doing some Super 77, that's spray tack, and then the drawer liner, and things seem to be not moving around. I might go a little more hardcore in the future. The rest of all these drawers just have my Milwaukee pack out containers. I had a buttload of them before, and
Buttload?
I cannot say buttload.
I don't know.
It's embarrassing. Let's just say I had a lot of them before. I like this. It's nice, and just grab them, take them to wherever I'm doing. But these are new, and I'm not really set on what I'm doing with them. Moving along down here, I just keep some of the larger items, epoxy, linseed oil, stuff like that. Do love my sink though. This is handy, and I've always just had like a pail, like this guy over here, full of water in the shop, and I would just dip rags in it and everything, so that's a nice touch. Over here is where I keep all my power tools. This first one is mainly cordless stuff, I guess, somewhat. More power tools, all corded. One thing I do want to replace eventually here though is my sander. Let me know what you think for future sander. Not sure yet. Here is the router that typically lives in the router lift. Normally I use this plunge router, but it's not the greatest. It's a bit sticky, so depending on what I'm doing, I might actually pull this out and use it. I have my track saw, one of my favorite tools, and I use it all the time. So here's my cupboards. I really don't have that much finish at the time, but lately all I've been using is this Osmo. I think there's some other stuff that's very similar, but I find it just so easy. They carry it at a local supplier down the road, so it's kind of what I run with. Got fine woodworking magazines. Once I rip through those, I keep them up here. Feel really cool with those.
The one thing he stores, like the one sentimental item in his life.
That's true. Everything else is paper, goes in the garbage.
What about your clamp rack?
Yes. Nothing special about the clamp rack. I have recently bought into the whole Bessie clamp thing. I do love them. They're flippin' expensive. I was originally just buying these guys, but these get frustrating at times, so kind of going with this now. But the clamp rack still works somewhat if I just space these every 2. So hopefully this gets filled up over the next year. It's just like $3,000 or $4,000, right? Not a big deal. I actually really like this cart. I don't know what kind of, I'm pretty sure it's there we go, Mastercraft. It's got a Festool sticker from the previous owner. I don't own anything Festool, nothing against them other than they're expensive. I know they're nice, but check out how nice this drawer is. Did this maybe 7 years ago. Started to label all of these. Prior to this, I just found finding a drill bit to be an absolute disaster. So I've stayed organized ever since. I also keep my router bits here, as it's right near the router lift, and just a few other table saw and router accessories. I think I have all my sandpaper, down here. And lastly, odds and ends for clamps. So that pretty much covers everything I think in the shop except for just my little crosscut sled here. Currently, I just have it leaning against the wall behind the door and it's pretty close to the table saw, so it works. I think it's episode 13 if you want to check out how I approach that. So as far as shop improvements goes, I think I covered pretty much everything. Big item is going to be over here with this outfeed table. Another future improvement, I think I'm going to install some sort of swinging arm. There's a certain somebody on YouTube who has a swinging arm, and I might do something very similar. I think that's about it. The only other improvements, I wouldn't really call improvements, it's more trying to make this my man cave, is there's a few spaces on the walls that are empty. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with them. I was thinking maybe of putting a TV up here, but I'm not much of a TV guy, so maybe I'll make something cool for that spot. And same goes with over there. Okay, I think it's time now where we'll take some sound readings. So I'm gonna start and see if I can just find the loudest tool and dust collector combination. We'll start here with the table saw. Seems like all the tools are more or less the same, but I believe the table saw is probably the safest tool to leave on. We're gonna head upstairs directly above, which is the kitchen. Then we'll head up to the upper floor, right outside our son's bedroom, who is sleeping right now. I think it's awesome. I don't really know how it could be any better, as when I'm in the kitchen upstairs, I hardly hear anything. Lindsay, any last thoughts?
Am I getting paid for this?
Not yet. Not yet. Well, this has been a slightly different style of video, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. It seems like a lot of people always try to justify their shop tour videos, but for me, they've always been my favorite, so no shame in making this one. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Like, good enough?
Great! Perfect! And turn on.
Woo!